Good, e- good evening, everyone. We're about ready to get started. I'm going to ask everyone to mute yourself, please. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. Welcome to everyone uh, to the Evanston North Shore Branch NAACPs. Who are we? What do we do? And what will we like to do in the year 2022? We really thank you guys for joining us, and we want to get right into this community meeting because we want to hear from you. We want to know your thoughts and your ideas. So begin to think about the questions that you might have regarding the NAACP. And Wendy, one of our members, will be monitoring the chat. She's going to start right now. I hope you came with questions for us, but if you have questions as we go along, please add them to the chat. This is the order that we're going to try to go in terms of the program this evening, and we'll take your questions at the end. My name is Willie Shaw. I am the Civic Engagement Chair for our local branch. And I will talk to you a little bit about why we're here tonight, what the NAACP is about, our national agenda, the structure of the NAACP, the committees we have, and some programming. Then we're going to have our president, Reverend Dr. Michael Neighbors, come, and he's going to share with you what we have accomplished in 2021 at the local level and talk to you about what happens at the national level. I will say here that, and we'll talk about that later, that all of our branches follow the national agenda. So you need to be aware of that. If there are things that happen in our local community, of course, we can address those, and we will do, but our agenda across the country, it disseminates from our national office. So after President Neighbors, we will have committee sharing from Jerry Sizemore, who is our membership chairperson, Terry Shepard, who is our education chairperson, Sharon Weeks, who works with Youth Council, Khalif Crutcher, who is our health chairperson, John Fuller, who is the housing chairperson, Judith Treadway, who is the legal redress chairperson, and Janone Smith and Candace Hill. Kevin McCarthy's conversations with Donald Trump and others. They specifically pointed to a conversation that is. Please turn off your mics, please. Let's see. Thank you. Janone Smith and Candace Hill will talk about civic engagement, of which I am the chair, but I don't want you to get tired of hearing my voice. And then we have your questions after that, and then our closing back to our President Neighbors. So let me begin by emphasizing that as most civic groups, our executive committee and our members volunteer their time and their hands and their skills to accomplish as much as we can in our local branch. The mission of the NAACP has remained the same since its inception, which is to ensure the political, the educational, the social, and economic equality of all persons and to eliminate race-based discrimination. We are a social justice organization. We are activists. We are a civil rights organization, and we have been so since 1909, and in Evanston since 1928. It's quite unfortunate when I think about it all the time that we need to continue to have this type of organization in our country, but we do. So it's our duty and our charge to answer the call wherever and whenever injustices arise. For that reason, we are structured to be here as long as we are needed in America. Our members in Evanston have been with us for generations. They've been with us 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 60 years. That's some dedication and commitment to an organization. Some of you may recall names like Ms. Garnett, who initiated a lawsuit against the city of Evanston, Evanston Theater, William Cromer, Charles Morris, Robert Milner, Henry Butler, Edward Jourdain, William Twiggs, Mattie Amaker, Lejeune Fisher, Catherine Bridges, Theola Murphy, Rosetta Bradford, Betty Payne, Sarah Armstrong, Ernestine Crumpton, Ruby Manson, Marie Sutton, Edna Summers, Reverend H.S. Crumpton of Ebenezer, Reverend E.H. Fletcher of Mount Zion Baptist Church, and that's just a few of them. But even within that group of people, their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren have continued to be involved in NAACP membership and activities. So we need your hands and we need your mind to keep us going for the next 113 years. In terms of our national leadership, we have 16 directors that devise, implement, and monitor programming in their respective areas for the national organization. And our national organization is led by our president. Our president is Mr. Derek Johnson. And maybe I should start saying our president, our NAACP, because that's what it is. It belongs to all of us. And then we have Mr. Hillary Shelton, who is the director of our Washington, D.C. Bureau and the senior vice president of advocacy and policy. We are governed by a board of directors, and Mr. Leon Russell is the chair. So he operates that division from our headquarters. Our national headquarters have been for many, many years in Baltimore, Maryland. It is still there. We have two other bureaus. We have a Hollywood bureau that was just added in recent years, and we have a bureau there in Washington, D.C. So there are three national offices, one in Hollywood, in Los Angeles, California, which is the Hollywood Bureau, the national headquarters in Baltimore.
Oh, I put it in the refrigerator.
Okay, we at the NAACP are divided into 7 regions. And those regions are the West, the Northeast, the Midwest, the Rocky Mountains, the South, the Southwest, and Mid-Atlantic. We are Illinois and we call ourselves Region 3. So anybody ever ask you what region you're in Region 3. Within these regions, we have what we call a state conference. So each state conference is also operated by or led by a president. And then we flow down to our local branches, which is also led by a local president and an executive committee. The last 2, maybe I should say 3 years, the national office has been under a major restructuring. If any of you have gone to our website, naacp.org, it looks very different than it looked even last year. And it is updated with new programs and new plans throughout the National's agenda, which was set July, I believe, 23rd. We usually have our national convention annually in July, and resolutions are for the year are made at that time. Usually a couple of months after that national convention, then the resolutions that are set, then the website is updated based on that. You can find the resolutions that were passed this past July on the website. All of the areas are there. We had in the past called what we do the 21st century game changers. That is one of the things that has changed under the restructuring. And what we are focusing on now is 9 different areas, and that is across the entire 50 states. The first one is democracy and voting. The second one is environment and climate change, which we did not have before. But since we have such problems with the environment the last several years, many years before for some people in some groups and organizations, but that has not been, it has been on our radar, but not at the top of our radar, but it is now. The third thing that has not been at the top, although we are a social justice organization, is an inclusive economy. But that is a major focus now, inclusive economy. The fourth one is diversity in entertainment. The fifth one is race and justice. Number 6 is educational innovation. 7 is health and well-being. And we have always have had health as a priority, but because of the pandemic, it has moved up. There are some branches that have not had health chairs of functioning health committees, and a national contacted each of us just shortly after the pandemic started, but not when it was at its worst, and said that every branch that is functioning will have a health and well-being committee. And of course, now we do. It is very new, because even in the local branch in Evanston, we did not have we have had them in the past, but at the time of the pandemic, we did not have a functioning health and well-being committee. And we're happy that someone stepped up that's here with us tonight that is chairing that committee. We also have an advocacy and litigation committee that is new to national and the local branches. And the last one is we've always focused on our young people, but they have made it a priority. They are calling it next generation leadership. Not that we haven't always known that we need to be replaced. All of us that are active in the Evanston branch continue to be active as long as we can, but we don't know how long that can is going to last. So we always need young minds, the next generations, to step up and chair these committees and continue the work of the NAACP. For all of these committees that we have, they also function at the state level, and there is a state chair. And I mention that because even though there's loads of information on our website, you will receive information as members when you come to our membership meeting. There, from 1909 to 2022, that's a lot of information to learn about, things to know. So each one of these areas also offer training. We, of course, before the pandemic, had those trainings in person. Those trainings now are offered virtually. So if you're ever interested in any of these committees, there are trainings that are at the regional level and at the state level to really get you into what these committees are about, what the charges are, what the expectations are for each one of them. So that's a little bit about where we are with the national office. There are some things that are coming up. Actually, I think I will hold that and come back to that. So why don't now we go to our president, and if you talk to us a little bit about a few of the things that we have accomplished. And we've accomplished a lot, and we wish we could tell you all of it, but if you talk to us a little bit about what we've been doing in 2021 at the local level and what we've been doing at national, because those two connect. Maybe Ms. Sizemore will talk about it, but when you become a member and you pay your membership dues, that's not just for the local branch, it's for national. So the things that happen at national, they affect everybody in the entire United States. So we all profit from what they are doing and from your membership. So President Neighbors, if you could speak with us a few minutes.
Willie, thank you so much. And thank you for the broad overview that you've given us regarding the NAACP, how it works, the regions, and how the information is parlayed from national to regional to state and to our local branches. 2021 was an especially productive year for the Evanston North Shore branch of the NAACP. It was the second year that we were meeting and gathering together and engaged in activities under COVID. So we did not have in-person meetings. The only time we met was in August for a leadership retreat gathering that was conducted at Fleetwood Jourdain. The rest of the time we were meeting as we are now via Zoom. So it's important for you to know that we didn't miss a step, however. We have not had in-person meetings since March of 2020. And in 2021, we managed to build on top of what we learned in 2020. Our adjustment to Zoom continued smoothly with only a few bumps in the road. And in addition to that, our website has soared to new heights. I have folks from all around the nation and other branches that are asking how in the world our branch website is so unique and different from so many others. And all of that is because of the incredible information technology skills of volunteers who are members of our branch, Michelle Novak and Janelle Smith. The year started as this year is starting with a robust amount of activities revolving around the King celebration. So our branch was involved and invited to participate in so many of those, including Amita St. Health, Oakton Community College, Garrett Seminary, the Evanston Interfaith Community, and we even participated in an amazing county-wide community breakfast all the way in Mercer County, New Jersey, around Princeton and Trenton. We also participated in a number of other activities helping the Black community and minority and marginalized communities to become more aware of what was happening with COVID-19. We managed to get several African-American congregations, for instance, to actually host vaccination events in the spring of this year. So their doors were open and the city came in with health specialists along with North Shore and provided vaccinations for folks who came in. And that was well done. The branch was deeply involved in that. We also became more deeply involved in Black and Brown parents dealing with inequities regarding education with District 219. We continue to write letters of support and show support to our own District 65 and Dr. Devin Horton, who is doing a stellar job in our own community with regard to creating equity education initiatives and opportunities for our students and their families. We continued to write letters of support to so many different groups in the community as well. You may want to know, for instance, that if there is an organization that is applying for a grant and they need a community partner, they often call on Evanston to partner with that endeavor when they complete their request for a proposal, and we write letters of support. We did that with the Feinberg School of Medicine at Northwestern. We did that with North Light Theater and a few others as well. We continue to support early in the year both District 65 and District 202 with their distance learning. You may remember that was became a very political issue, but the branch showed support until both of those superintendents and the administration were comfortable in sending their our young people back to school. We participated in a rally of support for many different groups, Black parents at District 219, Asian American folks earlier this year when they were feeling like they were getting bearing the brunt of real negative publicity. We supported a rally that they put together also at Lovelace Park. We also had so many different Zoom webinars and symposiums as a branch. We've really become quite good at that, and that's not an easy thing. We had a fair housing and reparations Zoom. We had a discussion on suffering during COVID, where Eric Rhodes, the new president and CEO of Amita St. Francis, was introduced to the community. We also had a panel on COVID and disparities related to the Black community that was sponsored by the Naomi Ruth Cohen Conference on Mental Health. We also participated in a wonderful Palestinian prayer vigil at the Muslim Center in Morton Grove. We were asked to participate in that, and we did. We also were interviewed an awful lot by reporters from local areas and around the nation because of Evanston becoming well known with regard to reparations. Everybody wanted to know what that exactly meant. So I'm here to tell you that I talked to at least 75 different journalists, and I was interviewed at least 75 times during 2021. That doesn't make you famous. That may make you more infamous than anything else, but but it certainly was an eye-opening experience to know that what we're doing and what we're doing, particularly as it relates to social justice in Evanston, is really becoming well known throughout our country. A lot of other small things we did. We hosted a Haitian rally for Haitians when their president was shot, and there was an earthquake earlier this year. And we also participated in a much larger Chicago Haitian rally at Federal Plaza downtown. There's so many other things that Willie mentioned. I can't get into them all, but I'm happy to say that we were involved. I also wrote about 24 letters of reference. So when you're in this kind of position, you're often asked to write letters of reference to folks, and we were able to do that. Willie, I have to also include Zoe Watley, who was a tremendous intern that we had, who served with us during the summer months in a paid position. The position was paid through the Boy Scouts and the Boys and Girls Club of America, and she did a stellar job working in our branch office. Now, very quickly, what the National is doing, they are very interested in partnerships, much like we've been able to create collaborations locally. Our national office is doing the same. They worked with the White House to freeze federal student loan repayments until May 1st. Also, they worked with the United States Post Office and created a settlement with regard to agreeing on a lawsuit that had been filed regarding the civil rights of Black and Brown people that challenged the USPS delivery delays during the voting season. Also, the NAACP released a civil rights scorecard through Black Enterprise. You can find that information. It was released by the NAACP, the National Action Network, the Urban League, and several other civil rights groups. And the scores were based on senators' votes on the American Rescue Plan Act and the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Act as well. In addition to that, our national office is doing a number of different things. They've created another amazing collaboration with the Boston Celtics and an organization called Vistaprint. And the Shamrock Foundation of the Boston Celtics and the NAACP announced the formation of a Power Forward grant, and the grant will provide $25,000 grants in the Boston area to Black-owned small businesses, and that even goes beyond Boston and across New England. So they're very proud to be a part of that. 10 more members of Congress joined the NAACP lawsuit against Trump and Giuliani during 2021 for conspiring to incite the United States Capitol riot. And also a number of other things are going on with regard to education, scholarship opportunities at a national level as well. So the larger NAACP picture is what we are trying to duplicate in Evanston, but at the same time, because Evanston is such a unique community in and of itself, and we pride ourselves on being unique as well. We also have some specific things that we are doing in our own area that may not necessarily be specifically related to the larger NAACP nationally, but it is related to social justice. It is related to civil rights. So we're very proud as a local branch to say that we're not only supporting the civil rights of Black and Brown people that the NAACP has been doing since it was founded in 1909, but we're also supporting the rights of our Muslim brothers and sisters. We're also supporting the rights of the LGBTQ community. We're also supporting the rights of anybody that feels like their civil rights are being impinged upon because of discrimination and bias. So in, I guess, a 5 or 6 minute nutshell, Sister Shaw, that's about what we are doing at the local level and at the national level. But I have to end by saying, you all, that this is the third branch where I have served as president. I started out as a 26-year-old president of the Princeton branch of the NAACP all the way back in 1985. I was the president in name only. I want you to know those older members of the branch actually ran that branch. I then became the president of a much more political branch. It was the Trenton branch of the NAACP in New Jersey, and that's the state capital. So that was, I had a grand opportunity to always be at the state offices and especially the governor's office. But I want you to know again, in my early 30s, I was not necessarily the president running that branch. It was the older members of the branch running that branch. And now that I have been elected twice in Evanston, very, very wonderful. I continue to love the NAACP. And I want you to know, these many years later, now that I'm a fully grown man, no longer young, I have to admit, the older folks in the branch are still running the Evanston North Shore NAACP branch, and I am proud to be in that number. So thank you all very much for tuning in, and this is really a great opportunity to show what we're trying to do.
Thank you, Mr. President. And now we're going to have Jerry Sizemore talk to us about membership.
Okay, hello everyone, and thank you all for coming. First, I would like to say, as far as I know, there have only been 3 membership chairs in the Evanston North Shore community for the past 60 years. The first was Mrs. Rosetta Gradford. Roy Wilkins, who was the national president, appointed her as life membership chair for Evanston, and I don't really remember the year, but following Mrs. Gradford was Mr. James Ellis Fuller. He was membership chair for a number of years, and here I am, membership chair. And my committee consists of 2 ladies, Mrs. Theola Murphy, who's 95, and Mrs. Katherine Bridges, who is 98, okay? And very seldom do we have a meeting when there aren't some membership applications submitted. So, but basically we have approximately 500 members here in Evanston, and we need more. We are a membership-based organization, and as you well know, no membership-based organization, be it your church, your sorority, can survive without memberships, okay? Memberships are the lifeblood of the NAACP. So, and of course, membership has its privileges, and when you join the NAACP, you are privileged to be a part of the oldest, boldest, most successful civil rights organization. So if you're not a member, please join in the, excuse me, the membership structure is youth. Okay, this is the membership application. Okay, can you see that? Can you see that? Okay. And there are various types of memberships. There is youth membership with Crisis Magazine, youth membership without, a junior life, a bronze life, regular adult, and a civil life membership, which is $750, but it's payable over the term of 10 years. Okay, you pay $75 per year. And once you have met that obligation, $750, you will receive a life membership plaque. And what we do, we present it at our Freedom Fund banquet. And I hope this year we will be able to meet in person. And why we should join, I guess you could ask, how can you help, why you should join? And I think President Neighbors and Willie, they gave a really good overview of what we do, and we need members to do that. We answer the call and lead the way through our advocacy. We are building a socially just society. So you answer how you can answer the call to become, again, a member of the oldest, boldest, most prestigious, successful civil rights organization by joining and helping us to continue the good things that we are doing. So if there's anyone here that is not a member and would like to join, Willie can put my information in the chat, and I will make contact with you. I will even mail you an application if that is the way you want to go. If you do not want to join online, with a self-addressed, self-sealing, self-stamped envelope. And all you would have to do is just put your check in the application, the appropriate amount of money, and we will send you a receipt back. So in other words, we need you, we need you. We cannot survive without memberships. So thank you all for coming, and I look forward to hearing from anybody that would like to contact me. And if you would like to purchase a membership for your grandchildren or anyone in your family, they would make a good birthday gift, just thinking of you. And that way they can learn more about the oldest, boldest civil rights organization. So thank you all.
Thank you, Jerry. Terry, you're on.
Okay, that's me. Good afternoon. Good evening, actually. I'm Terry Shepard, and I'm chair of the Education Committee of the North Shore branch of the NAACP, located here in Evanston. I have been a member of the Education Committee for many years. I took over the leadership of that committee after Judith Treadway gave it up. So I have probably chaired this committee now for 7 or 8 years, but in all honesty, I have to say the last 2 years of that have been the most quiet, and it's because of COVID. You know, COVID has kept us out of the schools. So anything we can do, as Dr. Neighbors said, to help Dr. Horton and the teachers and the parents and the students get back in school, we're more than willing to do that. As the chair of the Education Committee, Willie said, we mirror many of the things that are done on the national level. But as a challenge on the Education Committee, we believe that every child deserves an opportunity to reach their full potential, but acknowledge our education systems are collapsing under inequity, and it's mostly because of poverty. Students who experience severe economic obstacles perform worse than students who have access to more wealth. To bridge these gaps and ensure that all children get a real chance at fulfilling education, we need to address systemic racism and poverty as tangible barriers to learning and future achievement. Every Black student deserves access to great teaching, equitable resources, and a safe learning environment from grade school classrooms to college campuses. Black students matter, and working on their behalf has never been more urgent. We support all efforts for cradle to career. Students need family and community engagement and resources that encourage physical and mental health for their overall well-being, which allows for stronger academic development. We support college and workforce success. We support students getting the education and skill development they need so they can be successful on the job or in an academic environment. Racial justice in education. We need strategies and investments that build accountability to advance the success of children of color. Black children deserve to experience culturally relevant, student-centered learning, not extreme punishments or hallways staffed with police officers. We work to expand policies and interventions that equip families and communities to better support their kids' need in school. And we also work very hard on an end to the school to prison pipeline. In 43 states and the District of Columbia, Black students are more likely to be arrested than other students while at school, often with devastating effects to the child and their life trajectory. Education, that's what I'm here for. We have several scholarships that we distribute here at the Evanston NAACP. One, we have our NAACP Graduating High School Scholarship, and that the form for that is made available to every student at Evanston Township High School at the college fair. We participate, we have a table where we distribute our applications. Our application is very similar to every organization that distributes applications at that event. We have, we also have the Katherine Bridges Scholarship. Now, Ms. Bridges, she funds her own scholarship through donations, and she also select students from those that we, from the applications we accept from the high school. We have a Rosetta v. Gradford continuing education scholarship. That scholarship is $250. And all you have to do is send us your transcript from your college, and we send you $250. So if you're in college, 3 years after you get our first scholarship, you can receive $250 to use in whatever way you have. And then we have the Lloyd W. Shepherd Family Memorial Scholarships. Now, between those scholarships mentioned, we try to have a minimum of $5,000 that we distribute to Evanston Township High School students on an annual basis. Now, why do we give scholarships? Because students need money. African Americans need money to go to college. And that is also being recognized on a national level because several organizations, the NAACP of which is one, we're asking President Biden to take executive action to cancel federal student loans at a minimum of $50,000. Anybody that's gone through college knows that you pay for it for 20, 30 years, depending on what you went to college to study. So now I've listed the 4 scholarships that our branch supports. However, on a national level, there is the Agnes Jones Jackson Scholarship, Building Beautiful Futures Scholarship, Empowering Imagination Scholarship, the Grit Scholarship, Happy Days Scholarship, Hubertus W. Willem Scholarship, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition Scholarship, Catherine McIntyre Scholarship, the NAACP Creative Soul Scholarship powered by Vans, Smile Direct Club Scholarship, Empowering a Better Tomorrow Scholarship powered by Walmart, and the James Weldon Johnson Scholarship, and the NAACP Church of the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Scholarship. Now, in past years, what we've done in the schools, and like I said, COVID really stopped much of our participation in the schools. For 3 years, we supported a readathon at Oakton Elementary School. The NAACP has adopted and supported Oakton as our school of choice. For 3 years, with the support of the teachers and especially the principal, we went in and the principal and the teachers devised a schedule that allowed us to read to every single class for 30 minutes. This was done totally by volunteers. We read from kindergarten to 5th grade, and I'm certain that we all enjoyed it. And I know the students did, the teachers, the principal supported it. However, COVID and the absence of a principal for the past year anyway at Oakton has prevented us from getting in there. COVID has really taken a hit in more ways than one. It seems when my committee comes up with ideas and we run it by someone, they say you can't do it because you can't get into schools. So once the schools are open and these restrictions are lifted, my committee, my small committee and I, we are really looking forward to getting back in the schools. I loved attending school board meetings, the Zoom, I'm on Zoom all day long. I don't appreciate another Zoom meeting. But we do cover it from time to time and report out when we think there are issues of substance. So I'm going to ask all of you to go to our national website and sign the petition where we're urging President Biden to take action and cancel student debt to close the wealth gap. We all understand that that wealth gap, among other things, is created by not only a lack of funds for the family, but I mean, you can just go back historically. If you own land, you know, you can borrow on that land. You can send your kids to school with the money you can borrow. This is an attempt to help students that really need it. And of course, the NAACP and our actions in schools, out schools with scholarships, we believe that we support that in every way we can. So that'll conclude my presentation.
Thank you very much, Terry. And let me say here that so that you guys know, our Evanston branch number is 3015B. So anytime you need to communicate regarding your membership, that is one question they will ask you, you know, your state, and then what branch are you affiliated with? And that's 3015B. Also, you need to know that the membership is a little different. When you go to our website, Evanston website, which is Evanston NAACP.org, there is a membership form there. But when you go to national, which is NAACP.org, you are then joining a national organization, but you may not be affiliated with a local branch. You know, so you can join at the national level, but to be affiliated with us and for us to receive benefits of your membership, you need to designate that you want to be with branch 3015B in Evanston, but you don't have that issue at all if you go to your local website, which is EvanstonNAACP.org. So just for your information. Now Sharon Weeks will talk to us about—
Willie,
Yes.
I'd like to quickly share that we have had on this call, 2 persons have joined our branch via our website, Jennifer Howe and Jackie Eddy. They both
Thank
joined
you.
when Jerry Sizemore was talking. So we need to get Jerry back on here every few minutes. So you'll never know what happens. But welcome aboard, you two. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Sharon.
Good evening, everyone. I am Sharon Weeks, and I am the youth advisor for the NAACP branch of Evanston. Our national president is Wisdom Cole. He's our national director, and he is the NAACP Youth and College Division president. Dominique Walters is our program and training manager for the Youth and College Division. Derek Lewis is our national field organizer for NAACP Youth and College Division. And of course, Derek Johnson is our national president and CEO. We have not been able to have our NAACP young people really function because of COVID and because of all the various activities that have a tendency to pull kids in different directions. And so we are looking for young people. And I think every branch right now from the last meeting that I was in is kind of struggling with the participation of our young people. So we have it follows that we have a youth division, which is just a youth unit. And then we have the high school chapter, and then we have college. And so we've got different levels that young people can participate in, but we need them. We need them. And at my last meeting, they were talking about just the struggles that everyone was experiencing because of activities, because of all kinds of different things. But some of the things that we have been able to do is our participation in having a summer intern. And so President Neighbors talked about Zoe Watley, who was our awesome and amazing summer intern, who initiated our back to school giveaway. So over the summer, for a month, we attended different celebrations and festivals, and we handed out school supplies and also information to families, just saying what you need to do for a safe summer and for a safe return to school. We handed out masks, we handed out hundreds of books because we do believe in literacy. We handed out by grade level, size backpacks filled with supplies, everything that we thought a student would need. We gave away gift cards. We had things for social emotional learning. We had things like sound blockers for students who are in special education. We had all kind of, for every grade level, we tried to cover everything. And that was because of our summer intern, Zoe. We also host a summer enrichment program. And that's where we meet with different groups of students at Family Focus, and we do literacy. So we read with them, we talk to them, about being community leaders. We talk about African-American history, and we also do training on the NAACP, our background, and the role of young people from the very beginnings, how they were in a position to not to do much because they were little kids, but they could still do something. And so that's what we talk to kids about. You may not be able to do a great deal, but you can still do something. And so we spend time, and we've got a lot of changes that have happened in 2021 with our college and youth division at the national level, because that's where we take our direction from. And so they are now calling themselves the next generation leadership. So that's who we are. And we have a focus more on civic engagement now more so than ever. And so the young people are addressing issues on a national level: mental health, the cancellation of student loan debt, voter suppression efforts, police reform, COVID-19, voting rights, and they're preparing for the midterm election. And so on the local level, you have the youth councils and high school chapters that are addressing they need an increase and a presence in the youth and college chapters all across the state. So they are heavily recruiting. We need stronger and more civic engagement from young people. And there are things that they can do. There are phone banks. They are just handing out flyers. There are different things that our children can do, but we need to have them a part of it. We've got some young high school people who are community organizers. And so they are boots on the ground, front line, running, trying to do some of the things that kids can do to help out. We are looking to have and working towards a stronger social media presence. We're working on getting folks vaccinated. And so there are young people, young adults, there are high school kids who are driving people to go get their vaccinations or their boosters. They're handing out information. They've been fighting for voting rights. They've been working to make sure that HBCUs and college campuses are following through. In 2020, there was a big meeting that we had where we talked about wanting our college campuses, our HBC campuses, to be safe for the students. And so they negotiated some demands, and now they are making sure that the colleges and the HBCUs are following through on what they promised that they would do. We've been discussing what the problems are in our community for Black people, and you know, what can we do to help? So we've been talking about education and gun violence and voting rights. And yes, some of the children who are not even in high school know about reparations. Just like we are discussing reparations here in Evanston, in other cities, they are discussing reparations. They've been talking about food deserts and resources and healthcare. These are children. These are not grown people. These are not college students. These are kids who are in elementary and middle school, and they're talking about these same issues. And so those are the things that are on the table that we are going to be dealing with. And some of the things in some cities, in some states, they already have begun that work. And so we are having town halls on public safety and environmental issues, dealing with education, because now that we have had all of these different issues with them talking about our educational system and what we are teaching for history, there have been a couple of schools that have been exposed where they are telling the kids, we're going to learn this, and then they don't teach them that. They teach them something entirely different. And so there have been gun violence campaigns. The kids are losing too many of their peers. They're talking about the school to prison pipeline and different grants to get the money that they need to be able to have the different events that they want to have. We here in Evanston, we have a program called the AXO program. And that's something that we want to get kicked off, but we need young people to participate in that. And we start that at the high school age. And so we have been in conversations with leaders from the high school on how we can best integrate that AXO program into their school facility. And so that program is an achievement program. It's academic, cultural, technological, and scientific Olympics. It's called the Olympics of the Mind. It is a year-long enrichment program, and it's designed to recruit, to stimulate and improve and encourage high academics and cultural achievements among African American high school students. Now that whole production of a year long means that we need professional folks to volunteer to come in and to be those mentors for the young people. And all of the programming and things that are done come under the STEM program. And so you're looking at, you know, music and the arts and dancing, and you're looking at architecture and all of those things that you need a mentor for to help them. So we need some mentors to volunteer to work with our young people, but we need the young people first. That AXO program, we do a regional program which branches into the national. So once they go through all of the different levels that they need to reach, if they've won gold medals in an area, then they move on to the national. When they get to the national, then they compete against other states, kids from other states, from other cities. And they are competing for scholarships. They are competing for money, not just a few dollars, not quite like what we do, you know, in Evanston, but some kids have walked away with more than $30,000 to $1 million in scholarships, just based off of what their performance was about in the AXO program on the national level. And so, you know, we are looking for young people so that we can build our AXO program. We are looking for young people because we need the next generation of leaders. They are experiencing challenges and things that we didn't see until we got grown. but they're seeing them as children. They are burying peers. And so it's become too much. And so kids are rising up and they do want to do something, and we can help them to do something. We can partner with all kind of other groups, but we need the young people to be a part of this. And so I'm reaching out, just saying, we need young people to help us at every age level. We start with kids who are from 6 years old and we go all the way through college. And so we are looking for folks. We're looking for volunteers to help with AXO. We're looking for young people to become a part of the program. We are just looking to be able to shape this. We haven't always been this way. We had a very strong high school chapter at ETHS, but those young people have gone on. They have started NAACP chapters on their college campuses. They graduated, they have families, they're doing all kind of wonderful things not in Evanston community, but in the various areas that they live in. And so we want to keep that kind of momentum going because COVID is out there. We don't want that to stop anything. And so we do need your help. We need your prayers and we need your support. And most of all, we need your children. We need your children and your grandchildren. We need whatever young people you have, nieces, nephews, we need them because our community is not going to be run by us who are soon going to be old and not able to get around. But we need those young people who are fearless with boots on the ground to be able to carry the word, to be able to carry the power that the NAACP yields. We are willing to share that power because someday it'll all be theirs. But what will they do with it if we have not taught them anything? So we need your help to be able to empower our young people to carry the torch. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharon. John? Unmute yourself, John.
Hello, Reverend Khalif not going before me?
Oh, sorry.
You
Yeah,
had-
you can,
I didn't want you to skip them.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
Gotcha.
I'll go next.
Hello, everybody. First and foremost, hello, Dr. Neighbors, our president, and all of our vice presidents, and all of you. As Willie mentioned, I am probably the newest member of our executive team on our health committee. What I first want to do is share some of what we've done over the past few months, and then share what we plan to do on a local level with our local initiatives, and then share what our national initiatives are. First, we acknowledged during 2021, the need for mental health and also partnering with our faith community. So we partnered with a group that started at the beginning of the pandemic called the African American Community Partnership Group of Lake County. And we hosted a month-long, or co-hosted, if you will, a month-long series that featured yours truly as the moderator, but also our very own President Neighbors, who joined one of the weeks of those conversations. They liked him so much that they wrote about him in the Chicago Tribune. And so we thank him for his presence. But we really talked about how faith leaders and the faith community can attack some of these mental health issues in particular, but also deal with the paradox of, in particular, the Black Christian church, how it is that we walk by faith and not by sight, but yet still need to take a vaccine to protect ourselves and our families. So that was one initiative that we had, and we possibly will be bringing back a part 2 of that. Also, last year, our health committee worked extremely hard on getting a grant through. We wrote the grant, but unfortunately, we were not chosen for the grant. However, because we already have the meat on the bones for that particular grant, which is the Health Equity Local Preparedness Program, we are looking very shortly to find other grant opportunities where we can make that program a possibility in the city of Evanston. Also, we're having conversations with our local Alzheimer's organization, and in the next few months, we'll be bringing a virtual Alzheimer's event that will really talk about the mind, body, and soul. We're also looking to possibly continue partnering with area hospitals and churches, particularly around vaccine clinics that provide not only the vaccine, but also the booster as well, and really stressing the importance of getting that third shot. Also, one of the things that we've acknowledged that's critically important, especially during this time, is the mental health of Black and Brown folks. Lately, at least I've noticed professionally over the past few years, there's been a trend where now mental health in the Black community is less taboo as it was, let's even say, probably 10, 15 years ago. And so we want to capitalize on this opportunity to really have a seminar on the importance of not only your physical health, but also your mental health. And then last but not least, on at least local level, one of the things that we really want to do is sort of build on what was done a few years ago, and Dr. Neighbors will know this when he hears it, but we want to really talk about and really program around the importance of healthy eating and healthy living. We really want to stress, yes, we can wear our mask as my daughter makes her appearance. We can wear our mask, we can wash our hands, we can stay 6 feet apart. But at the same time, we also have to take care of those other areas with our physical health in terms of healthy eating, weight loss, things of that nature. And so we're really going to be looking, particularly this calendar year, on programming around that. Now to our national initiatives, and I'll run through the list. And a part of these national initiatives will also be embedded in our local programming this year. The first thing we have is closing the health equity gap of breast cancer incidence and mortality. The NAACP advocates and supports end-of-life planning. And let me stress that, if I may, as a healthcare chaplain, one of the most heartbreaking things is having a family come into the emergency department or into the ICU and not know the plans that their loved one would have at the end of life. And so particularly with Black and Brown families, we have to begin having conversations about end of life planning and what that looks like. So the NAACP does advocate for that. Also, another national initiative is improving equitable birth and maternal health outcomes for Black families. I'm blessed to have a wife who works in the field of research at North Shore, and she's working in some clinical trials now around particularly breastfeeding. And so what are some of those conversations that we can have with Black and Brown mothers around the importance of breastfeeding and maternal health? Also, another health initiative that the NAACP has on a national level is improving access and use of green space and neighborhoods of color. And so how are we capitalizing on green space? What does that look like, particularly in, and particularly in Black neighborhoods? You know, why are some Black neighborhoods, some areas, even within Evanston, food deserts? What are we going to do to address that? And then last but not least, expanding telehealth to reduce health disparities in the African-American community. While it is that we take for granted the fact that we all have Wi-Fi, and I know that Xfinity has done some work around internet access to Black and Brown families, not everybody can get access to their doctor through the internet. And that's just the reality of things, particularly for, as we like to say in the church, seasoned saints who may not know how to utilize technology. So how do we as an NAACP NAACP branch as a national organization really think through increasing and expanding telehealth to Black neighborhoods. So those are a few things that we'll be working on. I know you all are excited to join the health committee. So guess what? We strategically did this. We have a meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. And if you want to join us tomorrow at 6 p.m., I will put my contact information into the chat. You can join us as we continue to brainstorm and think through how we make all of these initiatives into practical ideas where we can reach the Black, brown, purple, everybody in our community. And so I want you to meet me on Zoom. You ain't got no excuse. You can wear your pajamas. I know some of you might be getting ready for bed at 6 p.m. or you may be cooking dinner. You can cook dinner like I am and still join me tomorrow at 6 p.m. I'll give you my contact information and I will email you the Zoom link. Thank you so much, Willie. Thank you, Dr. Neighbors, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Khalif. John?
I had to take myself off of mute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I just would like to say Happy New Year, happy, healthy, and wealthy and prosperous New Year to all. It is difficult to put in a nutshell the Housing Committee as well as any of these other committees because they have done so much. I am the Housing Chair and I do have members, Shirley, Sarah, and Anita. Unfortunately, we have not been able to meet, or in major my fault, on a regular basis, and but they did keep me informed of anything that was going on locally or nationally. I just want to touch this evening on vision statement from national as well as what's happening locally here in Evanston. Our president, Derek Johnson, national president, he's wholeheartedly supported the campaign from Opportunity Starts at Home because it so much reflects on the NAACP's views and values. So I just want to read to you the vision statement, the mission, and the goal in dealing with housing. The vision: the nation's historically marginalized households and those with the lowest incomes live in safe, accessible, affordable homes in neighborhoods that are free from discrimination and where everyone has an equitable opportunity to thrive. That is the vision. The mission: build a movement with stakeholders from many sectors to generate widespread support with federal policies that correct long-standing racial inequities and economic injustices by ensuring quality housing for people with low incomes. The long-term goal: through federal housing policies that expand resources and correct long-standing structural and racial inequities, we will ensure that people with the lowest income can afford a good home, which adds to their quality of life through better health, greater educational attainment, and stronger earnings. So that's the vision, mission, and goals of the national level of the NAACP. And we work in the same way here in Evanston. Now, even though progress has been made since the Housing Act of 1968 to the present day, we still face inequities and housing opportunities in Evanston. There is still a hidden redlining process. Evanston works towards being a progressive city and working on inequities revolving around fair housing. However, much work is still needed. We can take a brief look at how Evanston has grappled with fair housing issues. As early as the late 70s and early 80s, scattered site housing was built in Evanston by the Cook County Housing Authority. Many of you may pass this housing every single day and not even know it, but just for example, you have the corner of Darrell and Emerson, you have the housing. You have the corner of Emerson and Ashland, you have the housing. You have the housing and on McDaniel, just east of the Chase Bank. So there's various other places too where this housing is. So very early on, Evanston has taken a crack at resolving or solving affordable housing issues. You have the NSP2, the Neighborhood Stabilization Program at Foster and Ashland. That's the Emerson Square, if you're not familiar with that, not across from exactly, but across the street basically from Fleetwood Jourdain. You have Reba Place Development, who for decades have been rehabbing houses in South Evanston for affordable units. You also have a proposal that's going out. The Reverend had mentioned earlier that we do write letters. Well, the Reverend drafted a very excellent letter in support of a proposal for Adrian's Village or Adrian's Place, which would be at South Boulevard and Chicago Avenue, just east of it, if the proposal is accepted. You have inclusionary housing ordinance. You have geometry and construction with Evanston Township High School, which for the last 7 years has built the house on site at the high school and then had it shipped into or craned into areas where you had the open lots. You have the housing options for women, who will put up a nice building over on Dempster and Pittner. You have community partners for affordable housing. You have connections for the homeless, open communities. You have accessory dwelling units. You have Church Darrow proposal with Richard Koenig and the Reverend Cliff Wilson. You have Housing Opportunity Development Corporation, which Richard is in charge of. So there's a lot of housing that's going on and a lot of organizations that come together. And that is the strong work of the NAACP too, we don't build houses. So it is our job to be a voice in support or even opposing housing if it's not the right type of housing. So I'm just looking at, with the new city manager coming on board, several new council members, and a fairly new mayor to the position, but not to the city, that we have an opportunity to be in the forefront of fair housing, affordable housing, and we can show what it looks like. We have shown that it has been done with reparations. As the Reverend said, he's filled millions of cars, and I'm sure Robin has millions of cars, and Peter's millions of cars, and all that committee, just thousands of cars, because we did the reparations issue right. So we need to do the fair housing issue right and work with the city and work with the individuals and work with the other entities and make it happen. The National Low Income Housing Coalition estimates the shortfall of rental units that are affordable to very low income households to be 6.8 million units. At current pace of production, approximately 110,000 units per year, supply will never meet demand. We just have a very heavy load to carry, but it doesn't bother me at all, because from 1909, we have built the muscles in our shoulders to carry that load. And I think with other organizations, we'll be able to do that and continue to do it. I know some of our senior members, we say they're 95 and 97, but they're out there doing things that I can't do at 63. So my hat's off to them, and we will get the young folks this week. They'll come through and tell them, don't forget about housing, because the most important thing is to have a roof over your head. I just want to mention also that there is a virtual reparations meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. So please tune into that and see what the latest is on the virtual meetings. So thank you very much. The Housing Committee is open in 2022. I look forward to some good meetings, good ideas, and we'll move forward and we'll carry that load. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Judith?
Hey, our dear Jerome Smith can't be with us because he is closing down the warming center for Interfaith Action of Evanston, taking care of the folks who need some help. I'm here to talk to you about elections. And this is for the Civic Committee, the Civic Action Committee. And one of the things we were talking about in our most recent meeting was, are there elections in 2022? And there are all the elections in 2022. So one of the things that the Civic Action Committee is make sure that people are informed about elections, that registration is encouraged, and that you learn about the people that are on your ballot to vote for and how to vote for them. And one of the things that we're going to do is just share a little bit about what's coming up in 2022 that you'll be learning more about. I discovered Ballotopia, which is Ballotpedia, which has elaborate lists and information about the elections coming up this year. And they have a really slick newsletter too, if you want to sign up for it. But you can literally look up your registration, you can look up your ballot, and you can look up all the elections that are happening this year, which are US Senate, US House, Illinois Senate, Illinois House, the Supreme Court, ballot measures, and the governor. So all those things we'll need to look at, watch. Last year, we had some terrific Zoom candidate forums that went really well and had a wonderful turnout. And then we recorded them on Zoom, shared them in YouTube, put them up on the NAACP webpage so more people could observe those candidate forums than any other time we would have been able to do that. It was really successful. So for Illinois, the kinds of things you're going to be voting for Illinois, the Cook County Sheriff, the Cook County Assessor, the Cook County Clerk. You know, the Cook County Assessor is the one who decides how much property taxes you pay. You can, one of the things that we know as older folks is that once you have a habit of voting, you're just are always going to vote. You know, it's just one of the things that's integrated into your life. But our young people may be registered at the high school, right? And they may vote in one election while they're at the high school. But then all of a sudden they're going to college, they're coming home, they're having roommates, they might be moving every year, right? So all of a sudden it comes up to vote. Are they registered where they're living now? And are they going to be able to vote? And how can we help them feel confident that they're registered where they're living now and feel confident in voting? So one of the things that you can just sit down with members of your family next time you have everybody over for Sunday dinner. Sunday dinner is online voters registration. You can check. You can ova.elections.il.gov. You can check, are you all registered up? Is your registration all hunky-dory? And you can have a new voter register and you can update a registration. So if people in your family have moved around, you don't have to wait, right? You can go do that right now. And if everybody's voter registration information can be updated, then they can feel confident about voting in the January 28th primary and the November 8th general election. Now that primary feels a little late, doesn't it? I'm not sure why it's that late. You know, usually we're used to voting in April and May, right? But no, it's June. And think about it. Are young people going to be at camp? You know, where, you know, our younger voters, are they going to be off to pre things at college? So that's why early voting is going to be really important. And so one of the things that our committee will be doing is making sure everybody knows when early voting is open. Everybody knows to go getting their registration updated, thinking ahead a little bit, because all the elections look to be countywide or statewide. I don't know if we'll do a candidate forum, but maybe we will. You know, maybe we'll both be able to get those House candidates, Illinois House candidates, Illinois Senate candidates to come to a candidate forum and talk with the NAACP members about what's important to them and the questions that they have. I have to say that last year, I thought that was one of the things I really enjoyed the most, was getting those candidate forums together. And I had to tell you, Miss Willie Shaw, she knew how to call everybody, how to connect everybody. She got everybody in the room for those forums. It was really impressive. So we'll see you throughout the year, talk about voting, early voting, how to vote, get those young people registered.
Thank you, Candace. Judith? See an issue there with connecting to the audio. Okay, we'll come back to her. She gets herself in. Wendy, did we have a question?
Can you hear me? Now you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, thank you. Welcome, everybody. This has been a lot of information that we've shared tonight, and I want to make sure that everyone understands.
Judith, do you have something else going in the background?
I had to, can you hear me on my audio on the computer?
There's a lot of static.
Okay, let me turn this down. I had a problem connecting.
You got it, Judith. You're good now.
Oh, thank you very much, Terry. I guess I'm the youngest learner of a lot of technologies right now. First of all, I want to tell you, if you can bring me up on the screen, Terry, what's happened to my picture?
Well, you have the floor now, Judith. That's why you're on the screen.
Okay, well, your name is up here, so that's why I was wondering why I was there. First of all, my video cam is turning me a different color, so that's okay. I'm still within the color of all color, which is black. I want to remind everyone that wishes to volunteer to be on a committee of any of our branch committees that you need to be a member first before you can participate in on a committee, because we are a committee-based, membership-based organization. And I don't know if anyone's mentioned that our meetings are every third Tuesday for membership at 7:30 p.m. And we send out notices to all of the participants, letting them know that our link is constant, and you can get it very easily if you become a member. And because you're a member, that is the only way you can get the link. The other thing I wanted to mention is that before I talk about legal redress, which is not a lot of activity because it's a confidential process, I'm the secretary of the branch, which means that I take care of all communications within the branch and with all of the executive officers, committee members rather, and that I also maintain the office of the branch, which is at 2010 Dewey, which is in the Family Focus building on the 3rd floor in 302A. We have a phone number that we are going to be transitioning because we have not been able to keep track of all of the calls coming in, but our number will remain the same, and that is 847-864-0038. I will put that in the chat also. Also, I'd like to ask all of the committee members to include your email address so that if people wish to contact you, they can contact you by email if you put that in the chat box. My main role is to maintain the organizational structure based on the bylaws of our National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Our national office is in Baltimore. Every year we have a review of those laws. If somebody got a dog? And we can review all of those bylaws, and we go before the committee when we have the annual convention to add or review or revise different bylaws. One of the other things that we do is that we maintain information on our membership. We do have over 500 members, but we have about 100 active members who communicate with us and or participate when we have our membership meetings or on different projects that the NAACP, the local branch, does in the area. We are a collaborating, coordinating, and outreaching advocate organization. So anytime we're doing something, we have already linked with other members of the community and other members of our branch to assist us in making sure that our events are successful. The issues around our office is that we're all volunteers, and so therefore we can not be at the office if some of us are still working or have other commitments or teaching. And so most of the information that we're transmitting to the members is done by email. We have a website and we have Facebook. So those are the vehicles of social media that we're using currently. COVID has interrupted a lot of activity with our organizations. One of the issues regarding, and I'm the chair of the Legal Redress Committee, and the Legal Redress Committee consists of only two people, and that's President Neighbors and myself. This is a confidential process. We do not discuss people's names, excuse me, with the executive committee, nothing with the membership committee. We may refer to the scenario of the complaint that we might receive. Over the years, it's been very difficult for us to get the complainants on our discrimination complaint form to sign their names because of many times repercussions they feel from their jobs or the institutions that they're making complaints against. So what we have done is that when we do get a complaint, our president and I review the complaint. He listens to the complainant. We review the circumstances. We seek information, and then our most useful vehicle for dealing with is when the president sends a letter of interest and concern to the entities that the complainants have made a complaint against. Many times those issues have been resolved in a amicable way because we're not in a position to file any lawsuits. We do not have lawyers. So the only vehicles that we can advocate for officially is that if the person is not a part of a union and the person does not have a lawyer, then we can go to our state and we can seek out additional legal assistance under those circumstances. But if they do have those two representatives, we're not allowed to interfere with their personal efforts to resolve a legal issue. We have used the letter that Dr. Reverend Neighbors, our president, has skillfully used in seeking information and resolving things. We've also sought out some of our members who have a history of advocating when there's a discrimination complaint to help us in certain situations. And those have been very successful. We did have a complaint that was extremely successful many years ago with NU. That was resolved, interestingly enough, with the support of the branch, and they didn't have to go to a lawyer here. We do recommend for all of our discrimination complainants that they use the free services of the EEOC, the Labor Department, or the Department of Human Relations in the state of Illinois. Now, that is where you can get free services and you don't have to pay for them. And we do instruct people on how to apply for those things. Currently, because we are such a high-tech society now, you can apply for almost anything and everything on the websites of these institutions. In addition to that, we also provide some counseling that is not legal related. We do make suggestions to how people can proceed with their complaints. but we are not attorneys. We do not have that authority to give legal advice to any complainant. Also, I'm still involved with the Education Committee. I just want to say that I'm the chair of the Ad Hoc Scholarship Committee, and we have been very successful every year increasing the amount of money that we have given out to our students. And this past year, I think we gave out $7,500 from our fundraiser. The fundraiser is the main vehicle that we raise money for the operations of our branch office and for the scholarships that we distribute to the community, as well as the identified scholarships that are funded by families and by other individuals who are members and longstanding members of the branch. In addition to the fact that we are a advocacy volunteer group, I would like to ask anyone that is on board now watching this web conference that you contact the committee that you wish to be on. And we do need volunteers. And we have projects on board, but because of COVID, we haven't been able to implement a lot of things. But this year, we hope that we can provide at least 2 or 3 web workshops or events that we can invite people to participate in. All of our workshops are free, but we do request and we do ask for memberships, because it is, as Ms. Sizemore says, it is the lifeblood of the organization. And we have not existed over 100 years without having good organizational structure and funds to keep our branch offices open across the United States. And we have over 365 branches in the United States, Hawaii, and I think there's one other country in the northern country. I don't know if it's Denmark or Germany or whatever, but we do have branches worldwide. So please put your questions in the chat. If you have any information that you'd like to know about how we could better utilize our office space or our services, or you just have general questions about legal redress and the bylaws of our organization. We are a 501c4. We are not an incorporated organization. The national office is incorporated. We are a charter branch of the national office.
Okay, thank you, Judith. Wendy, were there questions in the chat? You know,
I want to thank President Neighbors and the committee leads who've made my job easy by answering the questions that people have posted in the chat, including contact. I would say I don't see the contact information for the education committee. So Terry, I think all the other emails for the committees are in the chat. So everybody can, go in there to see the various committees you're interested in. Education seems to be missing. So if you can put that contact information. Looks like we've got some couple new members and some volunteers for the different committees. Hopefully there seems to be some interest. So that's great. I don't see any open questions in the chat though.
okay. Thank you. And thank you very much, everyone, for attending. And I'd just like to say in closing that the work of discrimination in this country and around the world requires all of us. It requires people from all sectors and from all industries and all nationalities. And the true movement and work that's going to be done will be done multi-generationally. And we need to think about that, pass that on to our children. Our organization's 2,200 chapters around the country will continue to work to make this a reality in America, and appreciate you so much staying here and sharing with us and listening to us. And we'll have, if there are no other questions, closing by our president.
Well, thank you so much, Willie. Again, kudos to you and your committee for putting on this amazing event tonight. We're thankful for all of those who participated from near and far. We're grateful for the updates that we received. I continue to be inspired more and more when I hear about the work that we're doing, especially through our committees. So I just want to say God bless you to everybody. Have a good evening, have a good week, and we look forward to seeing you all next week at our membership meeting at 7:30. So take care and blessings, and remember to look us up on our website at www.evanstonnaacp.org. Amen. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
right.
I was about to give the church website. I'm sorry, you all.
Okay.
Okay. Take
All
care.
right. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Happy New Year, everyone.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Willie, before we adjourn, I just need to make a brief comment about Mrs. Katherine Bridges. She is also still a membership chair for many years. She is currently in rehab. She's 98, and I'm willing to bet you she has some membership applications in her purse. She's probably trying to sell memberships at the rehab facility. So let's keep her in our prayers. And
Man.
I did not mention her name. So yeah, so I would be remiss if I did not mention Mrs. Katherine Bridges, also as a membership chair.
Thank you, Jerry. Good
Okay,
night, everyone.
thank you. Okay, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.